I was in an alley counting blood-stained bills when a pair of luxury cars pulled up. A wealthy-looking woman trembled as she reached out to hug me. Hiding behind her was a girl who looked exactly like the adoptive mother who used to beat me. "This is your sister," my father said, explaining they had taken the wrong baby home from the hospital years ago. I clutched the money I'd just risked my life for and suddenly laughed out loud. "All right, people. Faded haircut, board shorts, your girl Zia is just that cool. Connect to your neighbor's Wi-Fi, grab your snacks and a Red Bull, because I'm about to spill it all." The air was thick with the smell of blood. A sticky liquid blurred my vision. The sharp pain in my shin told me it was fractured again. But I didn't care. The man in his 20s across from me was on the ground, gasping for air, unable to get back up. I'd won. That was enough. I pushed myself up, gritting my teeth, and walked to the underground ring manager. Well, you're getting tougher every time, kid," he said. "Here's an extra 1,000 for the great performance. You didn't disappoint the guests." My hands were limp, so I just grabbed the envelope he offered me with my teeth and left. It was as I was walking down the alley, counting my money, that I bumped into something hard. I scowled, annoyed, and looked up to see who the hell it was. But the man in front of me spoke with a tense voice. Are you Zia Sullivan? "Zia? I'm your biological father." I paused at his words, then slowly looked up. He was a stranger in his 40s, his eyes red as he stared at me. So this was my biological father. I thought about it coldly. No wonder the woman I'd called Mom for 15 years could be so cruel as to drip chili oil into my eyes, and so my mouth shut with a needle and thread. She wasn't my real mother. The woman who claimed to be my biological mother had her perfect makeup ruined by tears. "Zia, we're taking you home. I'm so sorry. Mom and Dad were too late. We'll never lose you again." They seemed incredibly upset. I didn't look at them. My gaze fell on the girl behind them, the one in the expensive princess dress with a polite smile on her face. Her features were a clear echo of my adoptive mother's. "Honey," my parents said, following my gaze, "this is your sister, Kiki. 15 years ago, Susan Fong maliciously swapped you and Kiki. That's why it took us so long to find you. But don't worry, Kiki is a good girl. She said she'll take good care of you." Susan Fong was my adoptive mother, the architect of my miserable life. So, she had swapped me with her own daughter, not only stealing my life but also ensuring mine was one of suffering. And Kiki, the beneficiary of it all, extended a clean hand toward me with a smile, but I caught the flash of disgust in her eyes. "Sister, it's a pleasure to meet you." I stepped forward and took her hand. I didn't hold back on my guidance. "Then please get the hell out of my biological parents' house immediately." Kiki probably never expected me to say that. She froze, tears welling in her eyes as she looked at our parents. My parents wiped their tears and forced a smile. "Zia, we know Susan Fong is a monster, but Kiki is innocent. You have to learn to be tolerant." I let out a cold laugh and hiked up my pant leg, showing them the mangled shape of my right leg, still twisted from the fight. "You weren't the ones abused and beaten by Susan Fong. You weren't the ones denied an education. You weren't the ones forced to fight in an underground ring since you were 10 just to eat. While Kiki's biological mother was torturing me, she was living in your house as me, living a carefree life. Does she deserve the word tolerant? And you haven't raised me for a single day. What right do you have to lecture me?" I spoke bluntly, my tone laced with impatient harshness. My parents, who were starting to get angry, gasped when they saw my injury. My mother started crying again. My father's expression darkened. "That Susan Fong is pure evil." "Okay, Zia, don't be angry. We'll take you to the hospital first." I didn't refuse. Only a fool would. I could curse Kiki, but I wouldn't throw away my real life again out of spite. There was a chance for a better life, and I had to seize it. Besides, Leo was waiting for me to save him. I had been worried about not having enough money. Now that my biological parents were rich, this was the best news possible. Riding in a top-of-the-line luxury car, I told them to go to County General Hospital on the outskirts of the city. My mom put her arm around me. "Zia, don't worry, we have money, we'll take you to the best hospital." I shook my head, insisting, "Just go to County General." They tried to argue but eventually, the car stopped at the hospital I'd specified. My parents carefully helped me out. I didn't go to admissions. I limped to a ward with a dozen beds. Pushing the door open, I was hit by a mix of smells. I walked toward a thin, pale little boy covered in tubes. The first thing I did was shove the money at him. "Leo." I just won this in a fight. Don't worry, I'll go again next Monday. The prize money is huge. I'll definitely get you cured. Leo smiled weakly at me but didn't take the money. Then, as if remembering something, he grabbed my hand. You'll get yourself killed on Monday. That's the beast fight. You'll be fighting animals that eat people. I want you to save me, but if you die, I won't be able to live with myself. Before I could speak, my dad put a hand on my shoulder. My mom said in a choked voice, "Don't go, honey, we'll pay for your friend's treatment." She then pulled me into a tight hug, her body trembling. What a good kid, living such a painful life yourself, yet still willing to help others. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything here. You go see a doctor right away. Hearing them say that, I finally relaxed and agreed to get treatment. It was better that they offered. Otherwise, I would have had to find other ways. Although I didn't trust them completely, I had to take the chance. Only by getting better could I pay them back for the medical bills later. I thought I could hold on, but the doctor's sedative knocked me out completely. When I woke up, I was in a room that screamed exquisite luxury. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have never imagined someone could live in a place that looked like a palace. My mom looked at me with delight, picking up a bowl of some unidentifiable hot porridge. "Zia, you're finally awake. The doctor said it's a fracture, but you're young. With good care, you'll recover. Here, have some porridge. It breaks my heart to see you like this." Before I could say a word, there was a loud bang at the door. A boy of about 12 or 13 burst in. If my mom hadn't stopped him, his fist would have hit my face. "Who the hell are you? What gives you the right to take my sister's room? Don't you know your place? You belong in the doghouse out back. Get out of my house." Kiki rushed in right after. I had clearly seen her standing at the door when it was kicked open. It seemed she timed her entrance perfectly. She wore a helpless expression as she scolded the boy. "Asher, how many times have I told you? I gave the room to our sister willingly. She's sick. Why are you causing more trouble?" Then she looked at me with concern, though her eyes were full of something else. It didn't stop her from acting. "Sister, don't mind him. Asher is young and doesn't know any better. Please forgive him this once, okay?" My mom immediately pushed Asher back, her tone stern. "What are you doing? Get out. We finally found your older sister. She's had a hard life. From now on, you will respect her and love her. Do you understand?" Asher lunged at me again. "Get out. I only have one sister, and that's Kiki, not some stray cat or dog." My mom wasn't prepared this time. By the time she tried to stop him, Asher's fist was an inch from my face. In a split second, I threw off the covers, grabbed his fist with my right hand, and with a sharp twist, I rotated it 90 degrees. His face contorted in pain. Within seconds, his face was pale, and he was crying and screaming. "Ack, let go. I'm gonna kill you, you bitch." When he was about to collapse, I let go, looking at him expressionlessly. I didn't hold back my sarcasm. "With that little strength, don't embarrass yourself. You can't even beat me. Are you a boy or a girl?" Over the years, I'd been in hundreds of fights against strong, adult men. This little flyweight was nothing. He clutched his hand, tears streaming down his face, still cursing me. "You fatherless, motherless mutt. How dare you hit me? I'll make sure you don't last a day here." I could clearly see my mom felt sorry for him. Now she couldn't stand it anymore. She raised her hand for a slap but hesitated. "What's wrong with you? Apologize to your sister right now." "That's okay," I said, stepping aside. "I'll help you with that." I slapped him hard across the face. As he stared at me in disbelief, my eyes were like daggers. "I'm a motherless mutt? What does that make you? If you can't keep your damn mouth shut, I'll beat you every time I see you." He was stunned by my gaze and instantly fell silent. I clearly saw the look of "you useless idiot" in Kiki's eyes, but her smile was wide and innocent. "Sister, he was out of line. It's right for you to teach him a lesson." She sighed, looking worriedly at Asher's swollen wrist. "But you should have some restraint. If his right hand is permanently injured, his whole life will be ruined." My mom glanced at the injury, hesitating. I shot Kiki a cold look. "Wow, your mother from hell managed to raise a saint like you? When he was hitting me, you wanted me to forgive him. Now that I'm defending myself, you're telling me I have no restraint? When your real mother was beating me, why didn't you tell her to have some restraint? Who the hell do you think you are, running your mouth at me?" Kiki's face flushed. I smirked. "Can't keep up the act? That's all you've got?" Other kids from poor backgrounds might learn to read people's expressions, but I never had that chance. Whether I begged or tried to please her, it was useless. Surviving Susan Fang's abuse was a feat in itself. Later, I understood, only my fists could protect me. Of course, Kiki wouldn't admit she was acting. She squeezed out a couple of tears and looked at my mom, as if expecting her to take her side. My mom was already on the phone, calling the family doctor to check on Asher. After the mess was cleaned up, my mom sighed. All right, Kiki, you can go. I have something to talk to your sister about. Kiki left reluctantly. My dad came in right after. After a brief exchange of looks, my dad sighed. We've looked into it. You've been fighting in underground rings to pay for school and food. It was our negligence that made you suffer so much. We'll shut down that ring. They even take in minors. It's inhuman. But Zia, we'll do our best to help you heal and make it up to you. You have a new life now. You don't need to fight anymore. Your brother and sister will treat you well. You don't have to be so hostile toward them. I laughed. The first time I went to the ring, I was only 7. The owner told me to get lost and had his men throw me out. I clung to a bouncer's leg, refusing to let go. They beat me with clubs until I nearly passed out. But I never gave up. Finally, the owner took me in, after I signed a waiver. I remember my first opponent was a young man in his 20s. He laughed his head off when he saw me. This is just free money. I didn't know anything. One punch from him and I saw stars. I was like a punching bag, getting beaten down and getting back up again. My weak punch is a joke, but in the end, I won. I couldn't outpunch him, but my ability to take a beating was top-notch. While he was catching his breath, I kept hitting him, ramming into him, even biting him. There were no rules in the underground ring, only that the winner takes all. I had nothing to lose. Relying on pure grit and a fearless attitude, I kicked him to the ground after an hour-long battle. That day, I walked out of the ring with $1,000. It wasn't even enough for my medical bills, but I smiled, because I knew I could earn my tuition here. I had nearly died there several times over the years, and to them, it was just so much suffering. I looked up at them. If the ring hadn't taken me in, I probably would have starved to death somewhere. You don't go after Susan Fong, but you blame the ring? My brother and sister will treat me well? After the way Asher just acted. Are you serious or are you kidding me? My mom looked troubled. But didn't you beat up Susan Fong and run her off when you were 12? Her whereabouts are unknown. How can we hold her responsible? And don't worry about your brother. He's not usually like that. I don't know what got into him today. I scoffed. Her whereabouts are unknown? Have you ever reported it to the police? The underground ring's influence can't be bigger than Susan Fang's. You're confident you can shut down the ring, but a woman with no power or connections is too difficult to handle? Who exactly are you trying to protect? As for Asher, I don't care what he's usually like. If he acts up in front of me, he's asking for it. And whoever provoked him is just as guilty. My dad's face darkened. Zia, you need to listen. Mom and Dad love you. What's the point of going after Susan Fong? The damage is done. It can't be changed. Your sister is doing great in school. She has a bright future. Having a criminal for a biological mother would ruin her life. I laughed. My first half of my life was ruined by Susan Fong. Coming back here isn't necessarily a new beginning. You're willing to protect my enemy for the sake of my enemy's daughter. Is this what you call love, my dear mom and dad? Their eyes flickered, and they fell silent. After a long while, they got up to leave. Think about it. That evening, they came to bring me dinner and feed me as if nothing had happened. We tacitly avoided the topic from earlier because we all knew neither side was likely to back down. After dinner, Kiki came to visit me again. In front of our parents, she brought up the room again. Sister, is the room comfortable? I glanced at her. Why do you keep bringing up this room? I was supposed to be my parents' real daughter. You've been squatting in my nest for too long. Do you really think it's yours? First, I never asked you to give me this room. Second, this was supposed to be mine anyway. Your mother gave up her dignity and conscience to send you here while she wandered the streets. Are you trying to cash in on her sacrifice? Her face turned red. I know you hate me, but I didn't know about any of this. I was just a baby too. Sister, if you're testing me, I'll leave right now. She didn't know? Only a fool would believe that. That woman, Susan Fong, was lazy and greedy. She hadn't worked in over a decade but always had money for luxuries. There was only one explanation. Kiki must have been in secret contact with her. She had known all along that Susan Fong was her biological mother. I had no patience for people like her. I pointed to the door. Then please, get out. Don't just talk about it. Kiki probably didn't expect me to be so direct. She stood there stunned for a long time, then turned with red eyes and pretended to start packing. Our parents quickly stopped her. Your sister is just upset and saying things she doesn't mean. You don't really believe her, do you? We've raised you for so many years. How could we bear to let you leave? Kiki hugged them and sobbed. Mom, Dad, I don't know how to make my sister happy, and I really can't bear to leave you. The three of them put on a grand family drama in front of me. I was the odd one out. Luckily, I had no feelings for them, so I didn't feel hurt. Only ironic. If Susan Fong had been this good to me, maybe I wouldn't have wanted to come back with them today. And if Susan Fong knew how well they treated her daughter, she'd probably regret not beating me harder back then. The hands of the three people embracing stiffened. The warm atmosphere became heavy and awkward. My mom sighed and came to take my hand. I pulled it away. I know you're close. Don't disgust me with it. My parents shook their heads and left with Kiki. In the following days, my parents came to see me less often. Kiki stopped humiliating herself. With my parents watching, Asher didn't dare to bother me either. Just like that, my injuries fully healed. But the first time I left my room and saw the full view of the mansion, Asher couldn't resist causing trouble again. Mom, Dad, where's the new watch you bought me last month? It's my favorite. Can everyone help me look for it? As soon as Asher finished speaking, Kiki's face grew serious. Yeah, Mom and Dad, that cost tens of thousands of dollars. It would be a shame to lose it. My parents had the maid search the house. 2 hours later, there was still no sign of it. Sir, Madam, we've searched everywhere except the young Mrs. room. Finally, Asher's gaze landed on me. Don't tell me someone who's used to being poor started stealing things. Mom, Dad, I told you not to bring just anyone into the house. You can guard against outsiders, but you can't guard against a thief in the family. My parents scolded him. How can you say that? Your sister would never steal. Kiki coughed lightly. Mom, Dad, it's not that we think she would steal. Maybe Asher dropped it in her room when he went to make trouble last time. Asher started throwing a tantrum. I don't care. I have to find that watch. After a moment, my parents looked at me helplessly. Zia, why don't you let them search? I smirked. Fine. This was such a clumsy trick. As expected, the watch was found in my bedside table drawer. Asher was ecstatic, pointing at me and yelling, Aha, it was you, you poor trash. A leopard can't change its spots. You like to steal, huh? Mom, Dad, send her to the police. This is what happens when you harbor a snake. Today it's a watch. Tomorrow it'll be your company's secrets. Kiki quickly stepped in, pretending to be a peacemaker. Asher, watch your mouth. You probably just dropped it in her room by accident. Asher rolled his eyes. Even if I dropped it, the drawer was closed. How could it have fallen in there? Someone obviously has sticky fingers. The nerve, stealing anything and everything. Probably steals people too. My parents frowned at me. Zia, what is going on? We offered you money when you came back, but you refused. Why would you steal? Asher's grin widened. What else could it be? She's pretending to be all pure and noble. If you want money, just say so. We might spare you a few bucks out of pity. A cold glint appeared in my eyes as I slowly approached Asher. His arrogant expression wavered with a hint of fear. What are you doing? I'm telling you, I'm not afraid of you. I grabbed a handful of his carefully styled hair and yanked him sideways. He flew through the air. By the time he realized what was happening, my fist had already connected with his face. With a scream, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes turned red, and he tried to get up and fight back. Expressionless, I punched him again in the stomach. The soft spot was unprotected. The blow made him roll his eyes back and instantly lose the will to resist. My parents finally reacted and tried to pull me away in a panic. I held my ground against two adults and slapped Asher across the face several times until his entire face was swollen like a pig's. Only then did I let go. My dad was furious, yelling at me. How many times have we told you? You can't keep fighting. Is there something wrong with you? Can't you interact with people normally? Look what you've done to your brother. You're the one who stole something. How can you be so shameless? Such a pathetic frame-up. And these two fell for it like they were blind. Kiki's eyes sparkled as she watched me with a victorious smirk. I pulled out my phone and played a video. In the middle of the night, my bedroom door opened. Asher tiptoed in and placed his watch in my bedside table drawer. The video was crystal clear. Everyone present was stunned. My parents' faces turned beet red. What is this? Asher, why would you do this? Why would you frame your sister? Asher couldn't explain. He just collapsed on the floor and played dead. Kiki coughed lightly. Asher is young. He made a mistake, but he can be corrected. It's a good thing sister has a habit of recording herself while she sleeps. Otherwise, she would have been wrongly accused. My parents looked at me suspiciously. Yes, who would be so calculating as to record themselves while they sleep? I laughed. I have your dear friend's mother to thank for that. When I used to sleep, she would often pry my eyes open and pour chili oil into them. I'm not an idiot. I couldn't fight back then, but I could at least record the evidence. The second time I earned money from a fight, I bought a micro camera and installed it on my phone. It gave me a sense of security. Kiki was speechless, her smile forced. Sister, you've suffered so much. I smiled back at her. It's fine. Didn't you already enjoy my good fortune for me? Kiki couldn't utter a word. My parents awkwardly explained. We didn't realize this brat was framing you. We almost wronged you. We're sorry, Zia. I sneered. You've done plenty to be sorry for. One more or less doesn't make a difference. As they looked on guiltily, I shot a cold glance at Asher and kicked him lightly. Stop playing dead. Your little tricks are child's play to me. Behave yourself, and don't humiliate yourself again. Next time won't be this simple. My parents scolded him too. Your sister has been through so much. How can you be so thoughtless? From now on, you are not allowed near your sister's room, and you can forget about your allowance for next month. Not until you've thought about what you've done. Asher opened his eyes, full of resentment. I scoffed. What an idiot. Being used as a pawn and still enjoying it. A week later, my parents enrolled me in the local prestigious private high school. On my first day at the new school, it was clear that all the students were looking at me strangely. That's the new girl, Zia Sullivan, right? She's Kiki's sister. I heard she barely went to school before. Her grades are terrible. How did she get into our school, especially the honors class? Don't you get it? Kiki's family is rich. Getting someone in is easy. I hate people who use connections. If it wasn't for her, the teacher wouldn't have had to move Sam out of the class to make room. So Sam was transferred because of her? That's disgusting. If her grades were as good as her sister's, I wouldn't say anything, but she's practically illiterate. It's an insult to us. The whispers grew louder. I just stared at Kiki in the middle of the classroom. With our parents gone, she could finally look at me with open defiance. I smirked and walked to the only empty seat. My deskmate was a girl with light makeup, cheap perfume, and the unmistakable smell of cigarettes that her dark circles couldn't hide. She shoved me impatiently. Do you think you belong here? Get lost. Don't be an eyesore. I didn't say much. I just shoved her back. She tilted sideways and fell to the floor, her desk toppling over and scattering its contents all over her. Her eyes widened, and she scrambled up. You dare to push me? You're dead, she screamed, swinging her hand at my face. I caught her slap, and my other hand had already struck her face. She shrieked. You hit me back. She lunged at me like a maniac. I grabbed her by the neck and easily lifted her up. The entire classroom gasped. Her face turned from red to white. I threw her across the room. I'm not exaggerating, I threw her. She landed on Kiki's desk, clutching her throat and coughing. In the dead silence, I slowly walked up to Kiki and looked down at her. At home, you use Asher as your pawn. At school, you have so many idiots you can manipulate. They're no match for me. Stop being a coward. Kiki was still playing dumb. What are you talking about? I moved closer to her, and she backed away. Kiki, your mother couldn't handle me, and neither can you. Just wait. Your good days are coming to an end. Her eyes turned red, and she finally dropped the act. Zia Sullivan, don't be so arrogant. I have plenty of ways to destroy you. I took a deep breath. That's more like it. This face-to-face confrontation is much better. All that sister crap was giving me goosebumps. I gave a disdainful smile. I'm so scared. She looked at me with cold eyes, but when my gaze met hers, she flinched again. The teacher came in and sent the girl to the nurse's office. Naturally, I was called to the principal's office. After reviewing the security footage, it was clear she started it. My parents had also explained my situation to the principal beforehand. He told me sternly, self-defense has its limits. I will inform your parents that they are responsible for Jessica's medical bills. You need to tone it down. I will not tolerate fighting in my school. When I returned to the classroom, although they still looked at me with disapproval, no one dared to provoke me again. After school, the family driver was nowhere in sight, so I was about to take the bus home when a guy with bleached blonde hair blocked my path. Chen, That's her, said Jessica, the girl I had beaten up earlier. Flanking her were Kiki and Asher. Behind them were a few other delinquents with cigarettes dangling from their lips. The blonde guy, Chen, looked me up and down, then turned to Asher. This girl? She really beat you up like that? You're not kidding me, right? I could probably knock her out with one punch. Asher was still shaken but looked at me with venom in his eyes. She's much older than me. Of course, I couldn't win. Why else would I call you? Kiki also gritted her teeth. Chen, teach her a lesson. She's so arrogant. She thinks she owns the place. Chen stomped out his cigarette and looked at me. Get on your knees and bow to each of them 10 times. Then we'll call it even. I found it funny. How about each of you bows to me 10 times? And I'll guarantee you can walk out of here today. Chen was enraged. So cocky. Watch me strip you naked today. He reached for me with his grimy hands. A perfect shoulder throw, and he was flat on the ground. A look of bewilderment on his face. I had failed countless times in fights before. My strength wasn't small, but it was nothing compared to an adult man's. Later, I realized my small frame was an advantage in terms of agility, just like now. Before Chen could react, I had stomped on his stomach. A pig-like squeal echoed through the alley. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. I grabbed his hair and slammed his head against the ground like a machine. 2 minutes later, he was a blubbering mess, his head covered in blood and dirt. Grandma, please spare me. I won't do it again. It was them. They paid me to come here. My family is poor. Kiki gave me money. Just let me go. Treat me like a fart. The once arrogant man was crying like a baby. The others were silent. Several of them had their legs shaking, ready to run. I let the other delinquents go, but Kiki, Asher, and Jessica weren't getting away. I caught up to them as they tried to flee. I slapped Kiki across the face. She was trembling uncontrollably. Sister, please let me go. It was Asher. He was the one who held a grudge after you beat him and told me to find people. It was all him. Asher, already traumatized, shrieked in panic. It wasn't me. It was Kiki. Jessica had already collapsed on the ground. It wasn't me. They told me to come. No wonder these 3 got along so well. They were all the same kind of trash. I crossed my arms and raised an eyebrow at them. 10 bows each. You're not leaving until you're done. Jessica complied immediately. Thump, 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 10 times. She looked at me pleadingly. I waved my hand. Go. Kiki and Asher were humiliated but refused to bow. No problem. I'll help. A few hard slaps later, their dignity was gone, and so were their faces. Asher dropped to his knees with a thud and began to bow numbly. Kiki went berserk, screaming, "If you do this to me, Mom and Dad won't let you get away with it." I nodded seriously and delivered another crisp, loud slap. Her face was practically knocked sideways. I'd love to see how they won't let me get away with it. She tried to speak through her tears, but a few more slaps silenced her. Fear finally appeared in her eyes. She unwillingly knelt and bowed her head. 2 minutes later, I yawned. Get lost. The 2 of them scrambled away. When I got home, the 2 of them were crying and complaining to our parents. Mom, Dad, she beat us up like this. She's so out of control. We almost didn't make it back. You have to kick her out. Mom, Dad, if sister hates me this much, I don't want to stay here anymore. I'll leave. Even though my biological mother's whereabouts are unknown, it's better than being beaten to death here. Mom looked at their injuries worriedly, then at me. What happened? I shrugged. What do you think happened? I beat them. My dad's face was grim. How could you beat them up like this? Looking at their swollen faces, I asked in confusion. What else was I supposed to do? Let the thugs they hired beat me to death? Is that what would make you happy? They should have thought about the consequences when they hired them. My parents frowned at them. Asher looked guilty. She's lying. I finally understood why Kiki threw him under the bus without hesitation when things went south. What a useless teammate. Seeing his expression, my parents didn't even need to ask. You hired thugs to bully your sister? Kiki quickly tried to salvage the situation. No, Mom, Dad, you know me. I'm not that kind of person. I would never. As my parents hesitated, I walked straight up to Kiki and, ignoring her struggles, snatched her phone. Their contact with that thug must have left a trace. Just look for yourselves. Kiki panicked. No, it was too late. My dad furiously smashed the phone on the ground. Kiki, Asher, what are you 2 trying to do? Ever since Zia came back, you've been targeting and framing her. Are you determined to ruin this family? The 2 of them trembled, not daring to speak. From now on, you're both grounded. You're not going to school either. If you ever do this again. I waved my hand. Mom, Dad, you don't have to put on a show for me. If you can't bring yourselves to punish them, don't make empty threats. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last. My parents were extremely embarrassed. We didn't mean it like that. You're all just kids. You make mistakes. We can't just give up on you. I smiled at them. If you can't, I can. That weekend, I went to the hospital to see Leo. He was doing much better, with more color in his face. The doctors said my chances of recovery are much higher now. Thank you, Zia. By the way, my friends have been helping me look. We found Susan's phone. The person my parents kept insisting they couldn't find was located by a few kids from an orphanage. When the police brought her to the station and asked me and my parents to come in for questioning, Kiki's face was ashen. I didn't abuse her. You can't convict me just based on her word, can you? Susan's phone was, of course, denying everything. But when I provided the police with years of video recordings, she was dumbfounded. The videos clearly showed how she beat, cursed, and abused me. Susan Fang's face turned gray. My dad leaned over to the officer. Officer, what will happen to Susan Fang? If she gets a criminal record, will it affect my daughter's future? My mom was also worried. Yes. Is there any way, maybe so she doesn't have to go to jail? The officer looked at me. That's probably not possible, but if you can get the victim's forgiveness. I looked at them coldly. You have a lot of nerve. I found the person you were unwilling to find. And now you want me to forgive her for the sake of your other daughter's future? On what grounds? Honestly, the more I interact with you, the more disgusted I am. How can anyone fail so badly as parents? Are you fundamentally any different from Susan Fang? My parents hung their heads in shame. The officer gave me an encouraging look. Child abusers don't deserve sympathy. Forcing a victim to forgive is out of the question. And you are the child's biological parents. You shouldn't be so biased. My parents, red-faced, didn't dare to look up. Susan Fang's actions were heinous, and she was sentenced to 7 years in prison. The day she was sentenced, Kiki cried her eyes out. My mom comforted her. Don't worry, no matter what, Mom and Dad won't let this affect you. I laughed out loud. Kiki, with red eyes, yelled, Are you satisfied now? My biological mother is a convict. I can't even apply for a government job in the future. I rolled my eyes at her. Whether she's a convict or not wouldn't change the fact that you're not smart enough to get one. She nearly fainted from anger. My parents wanted to say something, but when they met my gaze, they shut their mouths. The school had its first monthly exams. The teacher announced the results. Congratulations to Zia Sullivan. Not only did she get first place in the grade, but she's also first in the district-wide joint exam. Everyone looked at me in disbelief. No way. Didn't Kiki say her grades were terrible? How could she get first place? Our school's exams are notoriously strict. There's no way she cheated. So Kiki was lying? She wanted us to hate Zia. Wow. What kind of sister is that? So manipulative. Good thing I never messed with Zia. By the way, I heard Sam transferred classes voluntarily. It had nothing to do with Zia. It was all Kiki's rumor. After that, the students became much friendlier to me, while Kiki's circle of friends shrank. Of course, she was rich, so she still had 2 or 3, until the day the teacher gave the only spot for an academic competition to me. She couldn't take it anymore. Why give the spot to her? She only got first place once. Why? Why is she taking everything from me? She screamed before the teacher had even left. The teacher then displayed my numerous past competition awards, and she reluctantly shut up. The days of the competition were the most peaceful of my life, but the sea is always calm before the storm. The moment I got home, a huge drama was already prepared for me. My dad and a few men in suits were in the study, anxiously discussing something. My mom would periodically go in to listen, then come out with a worried look. Kiki was following them around, comforting them. Mom, Dad, a data leak is a serious matter. We should call the police. The Lin Corporation is well established. It won't be a huge loss. My dad and the other men sighed. This time is different. They talked for a long time but were still unwilling to call the police. Asher, for once, wasn't causing trouble and was playing games on his own. The man at the computer suddenly shouted, I found the IP address of the leak. Mr. Lin, it's in your house. The other men turned to look at my parents. My parents became agitated, nearly swearing on their lives. This company is our life's work. Sabotaging it would be suicide. The men were silent for a long time. Mr. Lin, you can't be sure. After all, you only own 60% of the shares. Maybe you want more. Yeah, we've seen this kind of shakeup before. Kiki suddenly spoke up. Uncles, there must be some misunderstanding. If my parents were the ones who leaked the data, why would they let you come here to investigate? Just then, Asher put down his phone and muttered, I saw Zia go into Mom and Dad's room the other day. She looked hurried when she came out. Maybe she's the one who leaked it. Everyone turned to look at me. My parents were extremely anxious now. Zia, did you go? Did you leak it? After all the times Kiki and Asher's schemes had been exposed, they still believed Asher's nonsense in this situation. After all, I wasn't the one they raised. They were even willing to protect Susan Fong. It was clear I held no special place in their hearts, but I wouldn't admit to something I didn't do. Do you have proof? Asher, have I not beaten you enough? Can't you keep your damn mouth shut? Asher tensed up and didn't dare to speak. Kiki shot him a look, then turned to our parents. Why don't we check sister's computer? Let Uncle Lou do a recovery and check the records. After the last incident, my parents were hesitant, but I was magnanimous. Go ahead, check. A group of people went to my room and searched my computer but found nothing. Finally, Uncle Lou inserted a USB drive and recovered nearly 6 months of files. A few intimate photos were restored. My dad was furious. Zia Sullivan, haven't we been good enough to you? Why would you harm the company? My mom also looked at me coldly. I knew you were an ungrateful wretch. Beating up your brother and sister is one thing, but how dare you do something like this? Kiki pressed her advantage. Mom, Dad, at this point, I don't know how to defend my sister anymore. Why don't we just kick her out? To prevent any more trouble. Asher couldn't stop grinning. Yes, Mom, Dad, kick her out. The situation was tense. I slammed my hand on the table. When everyone fell silent, I threw out a small USB drive. I plugged it into the computer. Countless chat logs popped up. Kiki, Mr. Rollins, how much can I get for my dad's company accounts? Mr. Rollins, the Lin Corporation's second daughter? Why are you talking business with me? Did your dad bring home his real daughter and stop caring about the adopted one? Kiki, cut the crap. 2 million, take it or leave it. Mr. Rollins, done. The money has been wired. When do I get the files? You have to promise not to say I got them from you. If I get caught, you'll say it was your sister, Zia Sullivan. Kiki looked like a statue about to shatter. I looked at her coldly. I worked hard to find these records. The account holder information for both sides is also clearly traced. We just need to confront Mr. Rollins, and the truth will come out. I didn't just fight for food and school. I had many friends from the orphanage, and some of them were adopted by wealthy families, including A.H.'s business tycoons. Coincidentally, the daughter Mr. Rollins adopted was a little girl I had helped before, so Mr. Rollins had learned about my situation from his adopted daughter and was willing to help me this time. After all, as my dad's rival, he only stood to gain from this. My dad quickly called Mr. Rollins. The voice on the other end was clear. Of course, it was your second daughter who gave it to me. How does it feel to be stabbed in the back, Mr. Lin? Haha, you've been in business for so long, yet you can't even see through a little girl. You brought this on yourself. With a roar, my dad slapped Kiki across the face. She spun 180 degrees and fell to the ground, sobbing, Dad, My dad pointed to the door. Get the hell out. Scheming against Zia is one thing, but how dare you gamble with the company's interests? Do you have any idea how much the company has lost because of you? She crawled over and tugged on my mom's pants. My mom coldly kicked her away. I've had enough of you too. You are so malicious. We treated your sister so unfairly for your sake. Didn't you see that? Why are you still not satisfied? From today on, get out of the Lin family and never come back. Kiki refused to leave. My parents called the security guards, who dragged her out. Kiki knelt at the door, crying and shouting, Mom, Dad, please let me in. I'll never do it again. I was just afraid my sister would steal your love. I love you too much. She was a mess of tears, but my parents were busy with damage control and had no time for her. Kiki left, and no one knew where she went. 3 days later, Mr. Rollins went to the police and reported my parents for tax evasion. After being questioned, my parents ran into Kiki at the station entrance. Her expression was grim, as if she had nothing left to lose. I'm telling you, you are my adoptive parents. You are legally obligated to support me. Otherwise, I'll sue you. My parents, already stressed, exploded when they saw this ungrateful wretch. My mom slapped her, and my dad kicked her 5 feet away. We've already given you more than enough support money. Get lost. Kiki, defiant, went to the police anyway. The result was as my parents had said, they had already fulfilled their obligation in excess. At most, they would have to give her a few $100s a month for living expenses until she turned 18. The more my parents thought about it, the angrier they got, and they slapped Kiki a few more times. She walked away, sobbing. Later, the police did find evidence of my parents' tax evasion. Oh, right. That's why they were so adamant about not calling the police back then. From then on, the Lin Corporation had to bear massive fines and debts. But for my parents, it wasn't a devastating amount. It just meant they had to live more frugally. But one storm followed another. 13-year-old Asher was arrested for drug use. He said it was that guy, Chen, who got him into it. But the police could never find Chen. Ultimately, for illegal possession of a large quantity of drugs and hosting a drug party, even as a minor, he was sentenced to 10 years in juvenile detention, to be transferred to an adult facility when he came of age. In the courtroom, my dad couldn't hold back and beat Asher on the spot. My mom cried until she vomited blood. The whole family was in turmoil. And me? I was studying peacefully, watching each of them get what they deserved. Later, my mom became listless, while my dad continued to work hard at the company. After the company recovered from the crisis, they finally remembered to try and mend our relationship. Honey, don't blame us. We raised Kiki for so many years. We just couldn't bear to be harsh with her back then. Now we see clearly. She's an ungrateful snake. We were wrong. We hope you can forgive us. Please give us another chance. I was disgusted. You don't see her clearly, and you don't feel sorry for me. She threatened your interests. If she hadn't damaged the company, you would never have seen the truth. The day I turn 18, I'm leaving. I've kept a record of every penny you've given me. I'll pay you back when I start working. They looked at me with guilt, but I cut off whatever else they wanted to say. When I was about to leave for college, my old friends came to see me off. Not bad, Zia. You've made us proud. Top student and a badass fighter. Our Zia suffered so much before. This is all deserved. You should have told us Chen was bullying you that day. Chen is one of my guys. He did a good job this time, right? That kid Asher will never have a good day in his life. Zia, you probably don't know this, but your sister Kiki? I personally saw her working in a brothel. She's into some wild stuff. A 17-year-old girl, without my parents' financial support, could have lived on the few $100s a month and gone to college. But she was probably too used to her lavish lifestyle. Suddenly becoming poor was too much of a shock, so she could only resort to selling her body for vanity. After I graduated, I found a good job. After covering my own living expenses, I used all my salary to pay back my parents. I just wanted to pay off the debt as soon as possible and cut all ties with them. They kept trying to contact me, apologizing, explaining so-called misunderstandings, but I never forgave them. I could survive the hardships of my early life on my own. I can also build a bright future for myself on my own.